Okay, this is now a test to test many things. One of them is my voice in English, and the other one is to test the quality of the mic. Now we here see the Mark 17 blueprints, and we are now trying to crop them and save them to be our references in the 3ds Max in order to model this in a high quality. And this is the low detailed model. I think that it's from a game for Iron Man. So here I'm going to open the original file. And then here in GIMP I'm going to make the markers here, move the markers so that I can easily crop them. Like this. I tried to render this model in a high resolution so that it can be easy for me to follow the details and try to model them in 3ds Max. Now I'm going to select these parts and Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Gonna paste them in another file, another image. The shortcut is Shift Ctrl V, not Ctrl V. Now I'm going to save these files. I'm going to name them. This is front. This is side with arm. This is side only. And this is back. Okay. Now we are in Max, and this is Max 2020, and this version is very fast and has very dramatic speed improvements in the viewports. I really recommend that you try this version because it's really great. Now I'm here in the material editor. I'm going to create a new standard material. Then I'm going to drag a bitmap. I'm going to drag the front. Then I'm going to open this material and then increase the self-elimination. Here I'm going to rename it to front reference. And I'm going to assign this material to the plane and then right click show shaded material in viewport so that the texture appears in the viewport. Now I want this model to have a height of 2 meters. So I'm going to make the length 2 meters. Then I'm going to move this down here. So I want the widths to be correct. So I'm going to put UVW map modifier. And then I'm going to choose bitmap fit. And this will adjust the texture's aspect ratio. Like this. So now I'm going to change the width of the plane like this. I think that this is looking great now. The next thing that I'm going to do is to put the pivot point down here. So I'm going to hierarchy, effect pivot only, and then I'm going to right click the spinners here, then click effect pivot only again. Also, I don't want the back face to be appearing here on the viewport, so I'm going to right click object properties. Then I'm going to check the back face cull. Also, I don't want this plane to appear in the final render, so I'm going to uncheck the renderable option from here. And let's change the renderer to V-Ray. It's here, it's made V-Ray. So if I'm going to put a simple light, like a sphere for example, to test this, and then render it, you will see that the plane does not appear in the render. But if I'm going to check renderable again and then press render, now you'll see the plane is visible. I don't want to see the references in the final render, just a model. And now as you can see that when I rotate like this, I can see the plane. Also, I don't like this feature, the outline feature, when the object is selected. So I'm going to the customize menu and then preferences and go to viewports. I'm going to uncheck the outline from the preview and the outline from selection, and maybe check overlay from the selection. I think that this is works for me like this. And then I'm going to press shift كده and move this as a copy here, and then press M again to go to the slate material editor. I'm going to select both and then hold shift and move this to create a new material. And then I'm going to rename it back reference. And here I'm going to change this pass to back. Then drag this and drop it. Right click, show shaded material and viewport. I think that I want this plane to be rotated like this, and change the angle snap to 45. Then I'm going to rotate it like that. Then I'm going to shift and click and drag to make a rotated copy. Then I'm going to select the material and the bitmap, shift, click and drag. And here I'm going to make it this side arm. I change the pass to side with arm, and then assign this material to the plane. I click show shaded material and viewport. And as you can see here that we have wrong aspect ratio, so I'm going to modify and then bitmap fit and choose side arm, and then I'm going to the plane and change the width like this. I think that this is fine. And then I'm going to make a copy, hold shift and then move, make another copy. I'm going to copy this material again, make this side reference. I'm going to change this pass to the side only, and then assign the material here. And let's see كده. Let's try to render this. As you can see that they are not visible in the final render. We can also organize the scene in layers. So I'm going to right click the main toolbar, and then check the layers toolbar and then dock it over here. I'm going to create a new layer and right click the layer to rename it. So I'm going to call this references, and I'm going to select all the references and add them in the layer. Also, I don't want to these to be, when selected, to be gray when they are frozen. I don't want them to be frozen and shown in gray. So I'm going to right click them and choose object properties and uncheck show frozen in gray. And now here they are frozen with the same color without being rendered in the final render. Here I can see that the lines are not appearing correct. So maybe I can see, maybe we can see if I can change this. So I'm going to the general viewport label and then configure viewports. I'm going to make the texture maps 2048 and see if this will change the resolution of the image. So I'm going to save this file. And let's make this called start. And I'm going to close Max and try to open it again. Hopefully that this will change.